Hi students, welcome to the science class. So we are familiar with the two words in this year, that is amphibian cyclone and Nisar cyclone, that will be affected on the eastern part of our India, isn't it? So it affects large disasters to that part. So and we are going to see what it makes. It makes lots of rainfall on that area and causes a large amount of the disturbs to the peoples living in that place and also to the animals. In that situations, the peoples, they are not going to get a good amount of the food, they are not going to get good shelter, and all the transport systems has going to be disturbed due to that cyclone, isn't it? So but in today's session, what is meant by that cyclone, how they are formed, that will be studied under the chapter of winds, storms and cyclones. You have to remember here, the cyclones are formed by the winds here. You have to remember when we are going to call it as a cyclone, when the condition of the environment, the air, the more amount of the air will be present, that is the speed of the air is very high. So what is meant by that wind? The winds are nothing but the moving air. The moving air, it is called it as a wind here. We know that air is present everywhere. The air is present in the room, air is present in the outside, but the winds, when we are going to call it that air as a wind, when it is moving. How we are going to realize that the air is moving? By seeing the fluttering of the leaves which are present in the plants, by seeing the fluttering of the clouds when we are going to spread over far to dry that clouds in a land, isn't it? By saying that some of the activities, we are going to confirm that the air is moving. So the moving air, it is called it as a wind. So if I am going to tell one activity here, take a tin bottle. Tin bottle means a tin can which you are going to drink the Pepsi or Coca-Cola with a tin can. You have to take that tin can and imagine that this is the tin can. This is the tin can, isn't it? Imagine this is the tin can. So now you have to pour half of its size of water, pour half water to it, and now you have to place this tin can on a burning candle, on a lighted candle for a few minutes. What happens? The water which is present in the tin will be heated now, and also you have to remember here, in the empty space of the tin, or if there is no water is present in the tin, in that condition also, what is present in this empty space? The air is present in that empty space. Now you have to heat that tin with the help of the candle. For some times you have to heat that tin bottle until the water gets boiled, and remember that you have to close the mouth or the cap of that tin bottle very tightly in a such a way that the air doesn't pass out, isn't it? It is clear. Next, you have to take that tin bottle when the water which is present in the tin bottle will starts to boil, and suddenly you have to pour some cold water on it, and take precautions here. It is very heated material that causes some of the wrong actions on your hands. So you have to take precautions, or you have to make this activity very carefully. You have to pour the cold water suddenly on this hot tin. What happens in the structure of the tin? If you remember, if you imagine, the structure of the tin bottle will be somewhat tilted when you are going to pour some water on it. The structure of the tin bottle, it is somewhat tilted. Why it is somewhat tilted here? What happens in the tin bottle? What makes the tin bottle becomes tilted? So see here what happens when you are going to start the heating of the tin bottle. The air is present in the tin bottle get heated. When the air is present in the tin bottle get heated, it expands somewhat. The air which is present, the air normally when you are going to heat, it expands. So that will be studied. That another one activity is present that shows air expands on heating. But now you have to remember here, when you are going to heat air which is present in the empty space of the bottle, it is expands, and when suddenly you are going to pour the cold water on it, the air which expands inside the bottle, it will be decreases its size due to the cold water. At that time what happens, the air which is present inside the tin bottle apply the pressure on the walls of the tin can, and that tilts the water can here. Is it clear? And you have to remember here, and another one condition which is present here, when you are going to heat the air which is present inside the tin bottle, the air pressure will be decreases. When you are going to heat the air which is present in the tin bottle, the air pressure will be decreases due to the air which is present outside the tin bottle. When you are going to pour the cold water, the air applies some pressure on the sides of the tin bottle, and therefore it will be tilted here. So this activity says that air exerts pressure here. This activity shows that air exerts pressure. What happens here? This heated air will apply some pressure on the inside wall of the tin bottle, and also air which is present outside the tin bottle, that also applies some pressure on the surface of the tin bottle. Therefore that will be get tilted here. The structure of the tin bottle, that is get tilted. So from this activity we got confirmed that the air exerts some pressure. And see here, I am taking another one activity here. From this activity we get confirmed that air exerts pressure. It is another one character of the air. The moving air, it is called it as a wind, and air exerts pressure. Next we are going to see another one activity here. Take a water bottle. Take an empty water bottle. Imagine that this is your empty water bottle. Take an empty water bottle. Place a small paper ball in its mouth. Place a small paper ball in its mouth, and now you have to blow with the help of your mouth, and try to push the paper ball inside the water bottle by blowing very fast air with the help of your mouth. If you have to try to push that water ball with the help of the air by blowing the air inside the water bottle. Is it possible to push that water ball inside the water bottle? Try to push that paper ball inside the water bottle. Is it possible to push that paper ball inside the water bottle? No, it is not possible. Why it is not moving inside here? What happens in this condition? When you are going to blow air very fastly inside the water bottle, what happens here? When you are going to blow the air very fastly at the mouth, the speed of the air is very large here. The speed of the air is very high. Therefore that causes a decrease in the pressure. But when you are the air which goes inside the water, so inside the water bottle, and that comes back, isn't it? And the air which comes inside the air which goes inside the water bottle, that increases the inside air pressure. You have to remember here, due to the speed of the air, the pressure at the mouth of the water bottle decreases. Due to the air which is present inside the water bottle, the air pressure inside the water bottle increases. The pressure exerted by the air which is present inside the water bottle increases. The pressure exerted by the air which which comes from the mouth towards the air bottle decreases the air pressure here. Therefore, when you are going to blow air fastly inside the water bottle, the pressure by the bottle increases. That's why the paper ball doesn't goes inside the water bottle, but it comes away from, or it comes outside the mouth of the water bottle. So from this activity we are going to confirm that the increase in wind speed indeed decrease in air pressure. What happened here? Increase in air speed. You are going to blow the air with the very speed inside the water bottle with the help of the mouth of the water bottle. Therefore, at the mouth of the water bottle, the speed of the air is very high. Therefore, it decreases the pressure at that instant. And what happens? The air which is present inside the water bottle, the speed of the air is very less here. Therefore, it applies the very pressure on the paper ball. Therefore, paper ball not moves inside. When you are going to blow the air inside the water bottle, the paper comes outside. It comes back due to the pressure which is present in the water bottle. From this activity, we confirm that increase in wind speed indeed decrease in the air pressure. Now I am taking under one activity here. Under one activity. See here, air always moves from region of higher pressure to the region of lower pressure. What happened here in the case of the water bottle? Again I am taking this activity only. When you are going to apply, when you are going to blow the air very speedily, the pressure at the mouth will be decreases due to the air speed, but the pressure at inside the water bottle it is more. Therefore, the air pressure always moves from the higher pressure level to the lower pressure level. The air moves from region of higher pressure to the lower pressure. So here at the mouth, the pressure of the air is very less. Therefore, the pressure inside the water bottle is very high. Therefore, air always moves from region of higher pressure to the region of lower pressure. I am consider under one activity here. Take one test tube. Take one test tube and fix a balloon. Fix a small balloon at the mouth of this test tube. Fix a small balloon at the mouth of this test tube, and now you have to put this test tube inside a beaker. Now you have to put that test tube inside a beaker which contains boiling water. Now you have to put that test tube inside a beaker containing boiling water. What happens in the structure of the balloon? You have to see carefully here. After 2 to 3 minutes, what happens? The balloon will be inflated. After 2 to 3 minutes, what happens? The balloon will be inflated here. Why the balloon will be inflated? The air which is present inside the test tube will get heated due to the heat produced by the boiled water. When the air which is present inside the test tube will get heated, it will somewhat expand. Therefore, the balloon which is attached to the test tube, it will be somewhat inflated. Now take that inflated balloon which is present with the help of the test tube or which is attached to the test tube, and take that test tube. Now you have to put that test tube inside the beaker containing normal water. What happens here? Again, that the balloon which is present at the mouth of the test tube, will get deflated. At the case when you are going to put that test tube inside the boiling water, the air which is present inside the test tube, in this test tube the air is present. If nothing is present in that test tube, the air is definitely present. That air will be heated due to the boiled water, and that air will be expands, and that causes the inflation in the balloon which is present on the mouth of the test tube. But when you are going to place that same test tube inside the normal water, the air which is present inside the test tube will be get cooled, and that causes deflation in the balloon of the test tube. So that this activity shows that air expands on heating. You have to remember here, when you are going to apply some of the heat, when you are going to provide some of the heat to the air, that air will be expands here. From this activity we get confirmed that air expands on heating. And now I am considering another one activity here. Take two paper cups. Take two paper cups, tea cups. You have to remember, take two paper cups, and you have to tie that paper cups to a stick. You have to tie that two paper cups to a stick in a such a way that you have to tie that two paper cups in a such a way that they are present at the definite end from the center of the stick. And now you have to tie a thread to the center of the stick in a such a way that they are get balanced. So now light a candle and place one cup. You have to place this arrangement of the cups in a such a way that the one cup should be comes at the upper position of the candle, lighted candle. What happens here, when you are going to place this stick or the cup at the upper part of the candle, the air is present which is present at the light of the candle, that will be get heated due to the burning of the candle. When the air which is present in between the cup and the candle get heated, that moves upside, isn't it? That started to move at the upside angle. So what happens, that cup will be moves upper side, and this cup will be moves downward side, isn't it? It moves in a downward direction, and this cup will be moved in the upward direction. Why the cup will be moved in the upward direction? Due to the air that will comes from the air which is present in between the candle and the cup. What happen when you are going to place that candle in between the ground and the cup? The air which is present in between the cup and the candle, that will be get heated here, and that when the air which is present in between the cup and the candle get heated, that air become lighter and starts to move in the upward direction. When the air is heated, the air will be get lighter than the cool air, and that starts moves in the upward direction. That's why the cups moves in the upward direction. This cups moves in the upward direction, and this cups moves in the downward direction. From this activity, we confirmed that the warm air is lighter than the cool air. You have to remember here, in this side also air is present, but this air is not moving in the upward direction. Why it is not moving in the upward direction? Because the air which is present here, it is lightened due to the heating of the air. Therefore, that heated air, it is very lighter than the cool air, therefore it moves in the upward direction, and therefore the cups moves in the upward direction. From this activity, we get to confirm that the warm air is lighter than the cold air. So you have to remember here, always winds moves from, the air moves from higher pressure to the lower pressure region. As I told already, winds are always moves from, air is always moves from the region of higher pressure to the lower pressure. So we are going to get the winds. How we are going to get the winds? How the winds are formed here? We have to remember our earth is in the spherical shape. Our earth is in the spherical shape. So as we know already, in the equator region, we get the sunlight very straightly from the sun. Due to that, the heat is very high at the equator region. But at the polar ends, what happens? The sunlight, the rays of the sunlight will comes they are declined here. Therefore, the heat is very less. In these two poles, that is at the north pole and at the south pole, the condition it is very cold. What happens? Due to the sunlight at the equator region, the air which is present on the land get heated more. That will be get heated more. When the light which is present on the equator region, when the air which is present on the equator region get heated, it will be lighter and moves here towards the poles. Why the air will be moves towards the pole here? Because the air always moves from higher pressure to the lower pressure, and also the air which is present at the poles, it is very cold. Here when the air moves from the equator towards the north, the space which is present in the equator, it will be empty, and therefore that will be filled up by the air which is present in the poles. You have to remember why the air will be moves here, why the winds will be moves here. As we know already, when the air will be get heated, that will be lightened and moves upwards, isn't it? When it is move upwards, the space behind the air which is moves upward, that will be emptied here. That empty place will be substituted by the cold air from the poles, and therefore the heat air will be moves towards the poles. The moving of the air from the equator to the poles, it is very common due to the rotation of the earth's surface. The air will be moves from north to south and south to north here. So this causes winds here. You have to remember large amount of the winds here we are going to see here. And also see, that is called it as winds currents are generated due to the uneven heating of the earth. Winds currents, flow of the wind, it is called it as a wind current. These wind currents are generated due to the uneven heating of the earth's surface. As we know already, at the equator region, the earth will be heated very more here, but at the polar ends, the earth will get very less amount of the heat from the sunlight. Therefore, uneven heating of the earth's surface causes in the rotation of the wind storms here. That wind storms are always run from north to south and south to north due to the rotation of the earth's surface. And also uneven heating of the land and water, that is also causes the movement of the winds here. That's our, we are going to call it as a cyclones. How the cyclones are formed? In the last chapter we discussed about two things, that is a sea bridge, and the one it is what is land bridge. The sea bridge and the land bridge, it is due to the uneven heating of the land and water here. So what happens in the summer session? The water will be get heated. Water will be get heated and also land will be get heated. In the summer session, the land will be get heated very quickly than the water. The air which is present on the earth's surface will rises up, and the air which is present on the sea, that will be rushes towards the land to occupy the empty space present on the land. What happens in that condition? The heated air moves towards the sea here, but when the air comes from the sea towards the land, it carries some amount of the water here. So in the form of the cloud, they carry some amount of the water, and that brings the rainfall here. So the season wise heating of this earth surface, that is called it as a seasons I am going to call it as, but it is called it as a seasonal rain in India. We are going to get two seasonal rains in India, isn't it? Due to the uneven heating. What happens? The uneven heating of the lands and water, that will also causes monsoon rainfall. Monsoon rainfall. Why we are going to call it as a monsoon rainfall? The monsoon comes from a Greek word, that is monsoon come from the Greek word that is Mausam. Mausam, it is nothing but the season. Mausam means season. Monsoon comes from a Greek word Mausam, and Mausam says that it is a season wise rainfall. Due to the uneven heating of the earth's surface, due to the seasons, we get season wise rainfall. How we are going to get the season wise rainfall? Due to the uneven heating of the land and the sea here. So what happens? That creates the cyclones. What happens at the once time? What happens here? If you are going to consider, this is the land and this is the sea here. So sometimes what happens here, due to the uneven heating, at the summer session, the land will be get heated very quickly, and the air which is present on the land moves upward direction, and the cold air which comes from the sea, it will be occupies the space here. But when the air which comes from the sea, that carries some amount of the water, and that brings the rainfall here. But sometimes what happens here, due to the uneven heating on the sea also, the water, the air which is present on the surface of the sea water get heated, and the sum of the air which is present other side of the sea, other side of the surface of the sea water, that will be moved towards the air which is heated at that sea, and the continuous movement of the air, that will brings the cyclones here. The continuous rotation of the air. What happens here? I am considering this is the sea. In this part, the air will be heated due to the more sunlight, but this part air it is not heated, because in this part they doesn't get the good amount of the heat. In that condition, the air which is present in this area will rises up. The empty space will be fulfilled by the cold air which is present under surface on the sea water. So continuous activity of this condition, that will be forms the cyclones here, because the rotation of the air will be continued here. And that carries large amount of the water in the form of the cloud from the sea, and that brings that air when comes towards the earth's surface, that carries large amount of the clouds and the water, and that we are going to call it as a cyclones. So in India, the water carrying air or winds are called it as a cyclones, but the cyclones has the different names in the different areas. I am considering in the American continent, the cyclones are called it as a hurricanes, and in the Japan and in the Philippines, these cyclones are called it as a typhoon here. Due to the cyclones, we are going to call the cyclones carry some amount of the rain here, but rain, it will be very helpful to the farmers which are present in our country or also on the earth's surface. But you have to remember, rain doesn't only gives us a happiness, but also it makes some of the disturbance to the living beings which are present on the earth's surface. Due to the more rainfall, it causes more disasters here. So what are the problems caused by the rainfall? That will be studied under thunderstorms and the cyclones here. So what are the thunderstorms? What is the lightning effect? How the thunderstorms are formed? That will be seen now. What happens when the air will be heated? When the air will be heated on the sea level, see here, This is the sea level. When the air will be heated on the sea level, that air will be moves towards upper side. Due to that less in the temperature, it carries some amount of the water. The water will be get vaporized here, isn't it? That will be get vaporized. So when the water will be get vaporized, it needs some amount of the heat. But when it is get condensed, the vaporized water will be get condensed and they form the clouds here, isn't it? They form the clouds. When they are going to become clouds, the heat which is utilized when it is vaporized, that will be released. That will be released here. And you have to remember here, the continuous supply of the air will be present due to the uneven heating of the water. Due to the interaction between the heat released by the clouds and the wind which is caused due to the heating of the water, that causes the lightning effect here. You have to remember, lightning causes more amount of the disasters. So the lightning, it is formed by the heat produced by the clouds. The interaction between the heat produced by the clouds and also due to the interaction between the air which comes from the uneven heating of the water, that causes a lightning effect. In higher classes you are going to see, you are going to study how the lightning will be formed and how the thunders will be formed. But these thunders and lightning causes more amount of the disasters. But how we are going to get a safety advices, or how we are going to take a precautions to get safe by the thunders and storms? You have to remember, if don't take rest when the thunders comes, or when you are present in a rainfall, don't take rest in between or inside a big tree. You have to take rest inside a small tree and avoid such conditions. In such conditions, go outside, isn't it? You have to avoid. If you are traveling in that conditions, try to avoid that traveling in that conditions, because the thunders causes more amount of the disasters here. So another one more important thing we are going to discuss, it is nothing but the tornadoes. Tornadoes are these are nothing but, these are familiar to you, because tornadoes are the wind cycles. The large amount of the wind will be formed, the cycling wind will be formed. You are very familiar with this. What happens here? Due to the uneven heating, the air will be formed, the cycling air will be formed, and that air will present, that carries large amount of the some of the things which are present on the surface due to its speed. Due to the uneven heating, the cyclone like structures or the cycling air will be formed. That air, it is called as a tornadoes. What is tornadoes? Dark funnel shaped rotating air. Dark funnel shaped rotating air. You have to remember here, it is a funnel shaped rotating air that reaches from the sky to the ground, that is called as a tornadoes. These tornadoes are not destructive in India. The tornadoes are very common in India, but these are not destructive. That causes not even very harmful effects in India, because the speed of the tornadoes very less in India. But in other countries we are going to see some of the big of the tornadoes we are going to see, that causes large amount of the disasters here. So due to the tornadoes we are going to get cyclones here. If the tornadoes arises in the seas, what happens? They are going to make large amount of the clouds. If the tornadoes comes in the land, that causes nothing effects here. But if the tornadoes are formed in the sea, what happens? They are going to make large number of the clouds. If the large number of the clouds are formed, if the large amount of the tornado is formed, the water waves from the sea will be increases. The water waves, the size of the water waves are increases, and the peoples which are present in the coastal area are get disturbed by these waves. They are going to distract the peoples or the homes which are present at the coastal area. So for to get safetiness from these tornadoes or these cyclone effects, our satellites provides the signals or they provides information before 24 hours. With the help of that satellites we can take a precautions here. So what are the precautions which we are going to take at the cyclones time? Here they are nothing but we should follow the government instructions which they are given by the meteorological department. The meteorological department will give the information about the cyclones here in the before 24 hours. They are going to know by the satellites. With the improved technologies they are going to know how what is the effect of that cyclone, how it affects on the coastal area. So we have to follow the rules and instructions which are given by the meteorological department, and also we should keep ready to go away from that area which is infected by or which is acted by the cyclones here, because the water has a more pressure. Even we can't oppose that pressure or we can't come across that pressure. Therefore to get safety from that pressure or to get safety from that cyclones we should follow the instructions which are given by the meteorological department. And also we should store the good amount of the food which is required for that cyclones times, and we should avoid the unconditional or unusable activities in such that conditions. So by following all the instructions given by the meteorological department and taking some of the precautions, we can get a safe place by the cyclones and the tornadoes. This is all about winds, storms and the cyclones, and this completes your another one chapter, winds, storms and cyclones. In next session we are going to see your next lesson. Thank you.